What if I told you that pretty much everything we think we know about motivation is just wrong? Seriously, that whole classic system of rewards and punishments, the carrot and the stick we use at work, at school, even at home, what if it's actually doing more harm than good? Well, stick with me, because the real science of what gets us going is way more surprising and, honestly, more fascinating than you probably think. And this whole idea, it all starts with a really simple question from a psychology experiment way back in the 1940s. Why on earth would a monkey spend hours and hours solving a tricky little mechanical puzzle if there is absolutely nothing in it for them? No food, no pat on the back, zero reward. What was making them do it? This completely baffled the researcher Harry Harlow. See, at the time, science only recognized two main drives. First, our basic biological needs, food, water, safety. And second, the external rewards and punishments we get from the world around us. But these monkeys? They were solving the puzzle just for the fun of it. They had stumbled upon a third drive, the pure, simple joy of the task itself.
To really get why this is such a big deal, you have to think about human motivation like it's a computer's operating system. And over thousands of years, we've had a couple of major upgrades.
For most of human history, we were running on Motivation 1.0, just plain survival. Then, a couple hundred years ago with the Industrial Revolution, we upgraded to 2.0. This is the carrots and sticks system we all know. And hey, it was great for getting people to do simple, repetitive tasks on an assembly line. But here's the massive problem. Our world doesn't run on assembly lines anymore. For the creative, problem-solving work that most of us do today, Motivation 2.0 is basically an outdated, clunky piece of software that's constantly crashing.
And I'm not just saying it's outdated. The evidence shows that our default carrot and stick system can actually backfire in some pretty spectacular ways.
Okay, let's do a little thought experiment. Let's say it's 1995. I come to you with two business plans for a new digital encyclopedia. The first one is Encarta. It's backed by Microsoft, the biggest software company on the planet, and they're paying top professionals to write every single article. The other one is this kind of crazy idea called Wikipedia. It's going to be built by unpaid volunteers from all over the world who just write and edit articles for free, for fun. Which one are you going to bet on?
Yeah, we all know how this story ends, right? By 2009, Encarta was toast. Gone. The project driven by passion and that intrinsic joy completely and totally crushed the one driven by profit. It's just a perfect example of how unbelievably powerful that third drive can be. And the evidence just keeps piling up. Get this. In one study, researchers took a group of kids who loved to draw and promised them a reward for it. Well, guess what happened? Once the reward stopped, so did their interest. The reward turned something fun into a chore. And in the real world, mechanics who were given bonuses based on repair volume started finding unnecessary expensive repairs. The incentive didn't just fail, it encouraged bad behavior. And this brings us to the famous candle problem, which tells us something really startling about creativity. You give people a creative puzzle to solve. One group, you just ask them to solve it. The other group, you offer a big cash reward if they solve it fast. Who do you think did better? The rewarded group took on average significantly longer. The pressure of the reward literally narrowed their thinking and snuffed out their creativity. I mean, think about it. Have you ever felt that yourself? Your creativity just vanishes when the stakes get too high?
Okay, so if the old system is broken, what's the fix? Well, it's time for that upgrade. It is time for Motivation 3.0.
And this is that third drive those monkeys showed us. It's all about intrinsic motivation. See, it's built on this idea that deep down we humans have this innate drive to direct our own lives, to be self-determined and to connect with others. And when we're in an environment that lets that drive come out, we don't just achieve more, we live richer lives. The work itself actually becomes the reward. So, how do we install this new operating system? Well, it's built on three incredibly powerful natural human needs. When you unlock these, you get real, lasting motivation, and they are autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Just think of these as the three essential pillars that hold up the whole structure. Autonomy is our deep desire to be in the driver's seat of our own lives. Mastery is that urge we all have to get better and better at things. And purpose is that need to feel like we're contributing to something bigger than ourselves. So let's take a quick look at how each one really works. So first up is autonomy. Now this isn't about being a hermit or working completely alone. It's about having a real sense of control and choice over what you do and how you do it. And some of the most innovative companies on the planet already get this. I mean, Google's famous 20% time policy, where engineers could work on whatever project they wanted, that gave us huge game changers like Gmail. Zappos lets its customer service folks work from home with no scripts, and what do they get? Unbelievably good service. The main point here is, when you give people control over their task, their time, and their team, you unleash their motivation. It's that simple.
But having autonomy is only one part of the puzzle. Once we have that control, our natural instinct is to get better at what we're doing. And that brings us right to the second pillar, mastery. It's that deep human urge to improve, to stretch our skills, and to see ourselves making real, meaningful progress.
Mastery is what leads to that incredible feeling of flow. You know what I'm talking about. When you're so absorbed in what you're doing and it's challenging but not impossible, the time just melts away. You're not thinking about rewards or what anyone else thinks. You're just in it. You're fully engaged in the act of creating and improving. And that is where our best work happens.
And that brings us to our final and, you could argue, most powerful pillar, purpose. We humans are wired to be purpose seekers. We have this deep need to know that what we're spending our days on actually matters and contributes to something bigger than just ourselves.
There was this landmark study from University of Rochester that followed graduates over time. And what they found was amazing. The people who pursued purpose goals, things like growing as a person or helping others, they reported way more happiness and satisfaction in their lives. And the ones who chased profit goals like fame and money, they actually reported higher levels of anxiety and depression. So purpose isn't just some fluffy, nice-to-have thing. It's a fundamental human need.
Okay, so we've seen why the old system is busted and what the new one looks like. But how do we actually start putting this to work in our own lives, with our teams, or in our companies? How do we make this real? Here are 3 really simple ways you can start your upgrade to Motivation 3.0. First, give spontaneous praise that focuses on effort and strategy, not just the outcome. Make it a genuine recognition of the work, not some kind of if-then transaction. Second, always connect the daily tasks to the bigger mission. Help people see why their little piece of the puzzle matters so much. And finally, create chances for mastery by setting those just right challenges that push people into that state of flow. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. What's that one thing in your life, could be a hobby, could be part of your job, anything, that you do just for the love of it, with no reward in sight? Whatever that is, that's your third drive in action. And the real secret to high performance and deep satisfaction is figuring out how to bring more of that into everything you do.